So we have two more examples to look at really quickly. So the square root of 363 x to the fifth y over 3x to the y. So before we really get started, wouldn't it be a lot easier if we just reduce things? Yeah, it would. All right. Does 3 go into 363?
Yes.
How many times? 121 times. So we have 121. Does x to the fifth? Does x go into x to the fifth?
Yes.
Yeah. What is x to the fifth divided by x? X to the fourth. What about reducing here?
Y to the second on the bottom.
Y to the second in the denominator, right? Okay. So now we have this square root, and it's looking a lot easier already, isn't it? So this is going to be equal to the square root of 121 x to the fourth over the square root of y squared. Well, what is the square root of 121? 11. What is the square root of x to the fourth? What is the square root of y squared? Y. And there's nothing more we can do. Now, another option you could have done is you could have broken this apart immediately and then reduced, or sorry, you could have found the simplest radical form and then reduced, but that takes longer, really, and it's more complicated. So it's much better to reduce first if possible. And our last problem, we have 12t squared over 75. Let's get, there are two ways we can do this. We could get the everything on one side, get the quadratic equal to 0, couldn't we?
Yeah.
And then we could factor. If we only have two terms, there's another way we could go about this, and that's what we're going to do. What's the opposite of multiplying t by 12?
Dividing.
So let's divide both sides by 12. So on the left side, we get t squared is equal to, and 75 over 12. Now I know that 12 is not going to 75. Is there a factor that both 75 and 12 share?
3.
3. 75 divided by 3 is 25. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Okay. So we have t squared is equal to 25 over 4. What's the opposite of squaring things? Square root. So let's take the square root of both sides. So the square root of t squared is t is equal to square root of 25 over the square root of 4. What's the square root of 25?
5.
What's the square root of 4?
2.
Now here's the trick. I think there's another answer. Can you think of another number multiplied by itself that's 25? Negative 5 times negative 5 is 25, isn't it? Can you think of another number multiplied by itself that's 4? All right. So t is going to be equal to plus or minus 5 over 2, because those numbers could have been negative, couldn't they? So this one ends up having two answers. Now if I were to do it the other way, 12t squared minus 75 is equal to 0, and factor, look for a greatest common monomial first, so you get 3 on the outside, so you get 4t squared minus 25 is equal to 0. This is a difference of squares. The difference of squares can be factored into 2t plus 5 times 2t minus 5 equals to 0. So the 3 on the outside. And then you can set it equal to 0, and you would get an answer of negative 5 halves over here and an answer of positive 5 halves over here. So you could get this answer either by factoring or by getting the t by itself and square rooting everything. Either way will work. Doesn't matter to me. All right.